Hello and thanks for joining me for another video. Today I'm over at Cemlyn enjoying the tern colony and having a look at what other wildlife I can find. It's such an amazing spectacle, the terns on the islands behind me, mostly made up of sandwich terns. And there's lots of them about 1,600 pairs this year, which is nice to hear. And it might not seem like it at first. There's two islands here. I'm just looking at the littler island at the moment. And because of the vegetation, lots of the birds are kind of hidden amongst it, occasionally coming out into the open and along the edge. And many of them have got chicks now. And some of the chicks are obscured, others are out in the open, almost like a creche of beautiful balls of fluff in the middle of the island. Absolutely adorable. And sandwich terns, they're quite a large tern. They have this black punk rock hairstyle, dagger-like bill with yellow on the end of it. They're absolutely gorgeous. They do have a call that after a while sounds like a really squeaky gate that needs kind of a lot of WD-40 on it. But they're so charismatic and charming, and a lot of them are coming back with sand eels. And it's nice to see because they're obviously not finding it difficult to find plenty of sand eels. So that's nice to know about the health of the marine life as well. And as they come back, they're kind of occasionally being mobbed by some herring gulls, which are a bit of a nuisance. A bit like Gronant in the last video, the islands here are fenced off to keep land predators away. In this case, otter. Otter can be a bit of a pain with terns, but you can't stop things like herring gull from just flying over and nabbing a couple of chicks and things like that. So, or even trying to steal some fish off the terns. Sandwich tern aren't the only tern here though. There's common and Arctic tern as well. And they're kind of more on the periphery. The sandwich terns seem to be taking up the very centre of the island. The common and Arctic seem to be more around the edges, from what I can see anyway. And again, they've got some chicks and they're absolutely adorable. And then we've got some of the other gulls. So the terns share the island with two species of gull, black-headed gulls, which some of those have got quite advanced young and they're quite mottled and brown, just hanging around the edges now. But the adults, of course, famous for not having black heads. Our black-headed gulls do not have black heads, they have chocolate brown heads, which seems like a stupid name. Should be called the chocolate brown-headed gull. But there is the black-headed gull, the Mediterranean gull, which does have a black head, and even its scientific name kind of means black-headed. But that's nesting deep in the vegetation, and every now and again it puts its head up, and you can see this lovely jet black head with this bright orangey red bill. And that's kind of occasionally kind of wandering around so you can get a proper look at it as well, which is absolutely lovely. So yeah, I'm going to spend a bit more time with these birds and try and get a bit more footage. I apologise because I'm shooting through a heat haze today because it is so warm today. It's 30 degrees. And I've come late in the afternoon here thinking it'd be slightly cooler, and it's just warm. It's just as warm. It's ridiculously hot. And because of that, I'm shooting through heat haze. So apologies. I don't think any of this footage is going to actually be sharp, but c'est la vie. It's still enjoyable to be. But I've come to the furthest point away from the car. I'm going to walk back to the car now, but along the way I'm going to show you lots and lots of different plants that hopefully you'll enjoy. You'll certainly be familiar with most of them, whether you actually know the names of them or not. I'll explain when we're down there, but yeah, I'll see you shortly. One of the things about Cemlyn is you've got to love shingle if you want to walk around here. And it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back most of the time. But one of the dominant plants you can enjoy while you're doing 2 steps forward, 1 step back is sea kale. It is absolutely abundant around here. It's probably Cemlyn's commonest plant at this time of the year along the edge where you're walking towards the terns. And it's glorious with these big glaucous leaves and these flowers that I cannot emphasize enough how much of honey they smell of. They are absolutely divine. When you get your nose into them on a hot sunny day like today, it is just, the whole air is just filled with this sweet, almost sickly smell, and it's absolutely delicious. By its name, it is kale. You know, this is a plant that is edible. It's highly sought after by foragers and gardeners for growing. The leaves are edible, the seeds are edible, the flowers are edible. The whole plant is edible. But it's, in some areas it can be hammered by foragers. because it's a plant that's a bit transient in nature. It kind of gets battered by the storms. It's a plant that when you're walking from the water up the shingle, it's the first plant you come across, that it wants to be as close to the water without being in the water as possible, really. And it has these long kind of roots that kind of start anchoring bits of the shingle, but when it gets battered by winter storms, it can break away and then the roots land somewhere else and kind of reform. It's very, very storm resistant. It's a wonderful plant. And if people do pick it, you just take it sparingly. You'll need a few leaves. These leaves are absolutely huge, and the centre leaves, when they're really kind of young and fresh, have a real nice purpley tinge to them. It's absolutely glorious. Even the seed pods, as it finishes flowering and it goes to seed, the seeds are just very, very interesting, kind of, not a typical looking seed, if that makes sense. Just look like lots of little peas all over the flower. So yeah, as you are walking along the shingle, do take time to kind of get your nose in amongst the flowers, have a whiff of this sea kale. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. If you're used to growing veg at home, a lot of the plants along coastal shingle will look very familiar, and I'll show you some more shortly. We've already had our sea kale, which if you grow things like kale will look instantly familiar. But down here we've also got wild carrot. So if you grow carrots, this plant will also look very familiar. It's an umbellifer, and that family is quite notorious in the foraging world because they have white flowers in umbels, these distinctive kind of beautiful flower shapes. And the family contains things like cow parsley, sweet cicely, pignut, wonderful edible plants, but it also contains hemlock, water dropwort, and fool's parsley, plants that will kill you. So this family of plants is notorious in the foraging world. And often many people struggle to identify lots of the umbellifers. They can be tricky. They're not for beginners. And well, some people call things like cow parsley Queen Anne's lace. Erroneously, it's not called Queen Anne's lace. Wild carrot is Queen Anne's lace. And I'll tell you why. In the centre of wild carrot, there is a single red flower, a sea of white flowers in each of the kind of wonderful flower heads, but in the centre of them, there is one single red flower. Supposedly, Queen Anne, when she was making her lace, she pricked her finger and spoilt the lace because it had a droplet of her blood on it. This is why wild carrot is called Queen Anne's lace, because that single red flower is a symbol of Queen Anne's blood in amongst the lace. So Queen Anne's lace, often people would describe a lot of the umbellifers as this, but wild carrot is the only one, because it's the only one that has this blood red flower in the centre. Has typical kind of carroty leaves and bracts that kind of cup the flower head. These kind of, not all the umbellifers have them, but on the underside of the flower it has these kind of these growths coming out of it that seem to kind of almost cup the flower, and they're called bracts. And between different umbellifers, they can be quite distinctive. It's just a wonderful, wonderful plant. This is the coastal version of it, which is a more robust plant. Often when you find wild carrot inland, it's a bit more modest and a bit dainty, not as robust as this. It's a fabulous plant. So when you walk along here, have a look at the white flowers and see if you can see one central red flower, and that's why it's called wild carrot Queen Anne's lace. Carrying on our theme of edible coastal plants that you're going to encounter that look familiar, this is sea radish. If you want a little trick, if you want to try and impress your friends, if you come to areas like this and you just point at a plant and just go, oh, I think that's called sea, you're halfway there. Because most of the plants around here are named sea. There's sea kale, the sea radish, the sea beet, which we'll talk about shortly, the sea rocket, the sea mayweed, the sea clubroot. You understand, lots of the plants around here are called sea. So if you say sea, you're halfway there. But sea radish is a wonderful plant. It's quite tall. You can see it's kind of up to 1.5 meters tall in some places, with these wonderful yellow flowers and seed pods that they can get up to kind of 4 very ripe seed pods, but some of these have only got 1s and 2s. It's still not fully in seed yet. And the flowers and the seeds taste very radishy, but not a plant to be messed around with if you don't know what it is. You could confuse this with other things, so don't go around putting things in your mouth you don't know what they are. And it's just absolutely delightful. It's not a plant that particularly wants shingle. It likes shingle, but you also find it in sandy areas as well. I've even found it at Prestwich Old Effluent Treatment Works. Very romantic place to go. lots of it there that was brought in on cockle shells that were neutralising the old sludge beds. So you can find it in places like Greater Manchester, but it doesn't persist. So it's a wonderful plant. And the other plant around here is sea beet. Now, if you grow things like spinach or chard or beetroot in the garden, sea beet will look familiar because this is the common ancestor of all of them. So there's no such thing as wild beetroot or wild chard. It is sea beet that has been cultivated different ways to end up with those plants. So it shows familiar kind of signs from all those plants. It's got these lovely glossy leaves, which look better early in the year. Now it's gone to flower and seed. So it's kind of the leaves are a bit past their best. But it's still very familiar, and that's, you know, the kind of appearance it has. So yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful plant. Whilst I've been kind of looking at these plants, I've noticed quite a lot of red admiral and painted lady and some silver wine moth as well. I was hoping to get some video, but they're all, because it's so hot, they're all fully charged. They're not hanging about. They're just going from flower to flower, feeding up and moving on. They're all going this way as well. They're not going back that way, which probably indicates they're migrants. You know, these species of butterfly and moth are indications of migratory, you know, moths and butterflies moving about. And if they're moving about, what other moths and things are lurking around? So my plan for tonight is to go out with a moth trap and see what I can find whilst I'm on the island. So yeah, I think I'll leave it here for this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. I have. It's a wonderful place to come if you've not got much time or you're a bit less mobile. It's not a big walk. It's only kind of a few hundred meters down. It is on shingle, but there's lots and lots to see along the way, so it doesn't feel too bad walking on shingle. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, if you can like and subscribe, that would really help the channel out. And I shall see you on the next one, wherever that might be. Bye for now.